to go green now. Alex Palou leads away and Kiffin Simpson already tucked up on the rear wing. But look at Lundgaard having a look on Palou, but Palou holds the lead, and we've got a crash at the back. Graham Rahal involved, Josef Newgarden involved, Will Power as well. Disaster once again for Penske. And Newgarden is out immediately, and that's a Prema in trouble as well. That looks like Callum Ilott, but Palou holding the lead of this race, and another nightmare for Penske and for Josef Newgarden.
You said it, you saw Power involved, obviously Newgarden as well. Hometown hero Graham Rahal begging for the safety team to come and fire up that Honda engine.
With just a 2.2-mile lap, Graham does not want to go a lap down as we look to the very back of the field in that light white and blue car of Josef Newgarden, and he just spun. And I think it was well before the bump. It was a very bizarre spin. This is on board with Graham Rahal. We'll get a good view of Newgarden, who's just in front to the right there. Oh, he just locked up.
The car just snapped on him. That's bizarre though, T-Bell. I mean, you know, when you get the rear locking in these race cars, you still go straight, but you're kind of chasing the tail. This thing hooked all the way driver's left. So bizarre. Kevin.
You guys have seen what Josef Newgarden felt very calmly. Shortly after he came to a stop, he said, the rear's just locked. Very weird, is what Newgarden said.
I'm with him. That was a very weird looking thing, and yeah, the problem's just continuing for Team Penske.
Back to green. An aggressive start from Lundgaard on the power early, jumping down there through the final corner, wanting to have a look and get up and pass Kiffin Simpson at the earliest possible opportunity. Snaking through turn one, and now we are racing for real as Lundgaard has a little look and Simpson goes to defend. Lundgaard though around the outside of Kiffin Simpson at 2, but Simpson again closes the door. Lundgaard now on board with him on the rundown through 3 into 4. The pace advantage of the McLaren clear as it stands. Who will be later on the brakes? Lundgaard trying to go around the outside of Kiffin Simpson, and Simpson again defends beautifully. Great racing, but Lundgaard is through.
That was fun to see because that turn 4, again, newly profiled, it's flatter, doesn't have the banking of old. It's the first time we've seen 2 wide under race conditions, and Lundgaard gets it done.
I was just going to say that gave me so much encouragement that we're going to see a lot of action down there. You can still run side by side, but Lundgaard from his seat, it was so crucial to get around Kiffin Simpson there to start putting the charge and pressure on Alex Palou.
Also, really nice job from Kiffin Simpson, leaving some racing room there, not challenging too hard too early. He knows he is in running position right now for the best finish of his IndyCar career, and Nolan Siegel also do a great job to hold on to that 4th place just behind.
Right on board with Christian Lundgaard, Alex Palou almost a second to the good, but Lundgaard just starting to chip away. We ride on board now with his teammate Nolan Siegel, courtesy of NTT Data. Keep your eyes though on the timing pylon, and Kyle Kirkwood, who has lost 2 places from his starting spot of 7th, now sits 9th. Josef Newgarden though is standing by with Georgia.
Unusual situation for Josef Newgarden, so frankly, what happened?
I'm not sure. I either had just a massive rear lockup and spun, or I got touched. I don't know. I mean, to me initially it felt like I just locked rears all of a sudden out of nowhere, kind of unexpectedly, or I got touched. So if I didn't get touched, then just a weird freak massive rear lock, which is bizarre, but yeah, tough to not be out there. Hopefully we can fix the car. I don't think there's a lot of damage. I'd like to get back out, but you know, obviously we're sort of out of this thing, so it's a shame having a fast PPG car, support from Team Chevy, and you know, just want to be in the mix.
A string of bad luck, how do you recover going forward?
Oh, you just go to the next one.
Thanks.
We thank Josef Newgarden for stopping to talk despite the disappointment today. As he said, hoping to get back out there and just get a little bit more track time. Graham Rahal off as well. But there are your leaders. There is Alex Palou, Christian Lundgaard behind Kyle Kirkwood, still trying to find a way past Scott Dixon as he drops down, and he knows that he has to start making up these positions as Rossi defends from David Malukas, who goes around the outside and tries to put the pass on, and that's actually a really nice move from David Malukas.
And that's a great visual of the soft tire versus the hard tire. Malukas on the soft, Rossi on the hard. That extra grip from that red sidewalled Firestone, just carrying it all the way around, and now Rasmussen defending against Ferrucci.
Ferrucci, one of the big movers over the last few races, over and onto the grass.
Felix looking outside, outside. Clear.
And that is Rosenquist trying to get through on Ferrucci as well. Ferrucci won't take kindly to being put over onto the grass. And he's lost 1 place from his starting position. Back then with the battle, that's Scott McLaughlin in the black and red car, so reminiscent of Will Power's old liveries in that Penske. We ride on board with him now, courtesy of Odyssey Battery. McLaughlin, who's down in P18.
Turn one here, so hard to follow because it's so fast. When you're that close to the car in front, you lose a bunch of downforce as more action down into turn two. Rossi on the defense again.
Yeah, Rossi still defending against cars that appear to have better grip, but in this case with Pato Award, I think he's on the harder black tire right now. He is indeed. So that's just straight up a better race car, better driver at this point as Rossi defends, shoots it well up the inside, and hangs on to the spot for now.
And Award massively disappointed with his qualifying run yesterday. Starts this race from the 14th spot. Of course, both of his teammates up on the front two rows of the grid. We know that McLaren has pace, and as you guys were saying, on the same tires as Alexander Rossi, that McLaren looks like it's got some purpose.
And now Colton Herta comes in for softs.
Georgia.
Colton Herta the farthest forward in the sequence on those primary tires. They put his only set of brand new red tires on him. One turn in the front wing and they fill it up with shell fuel.
Saw how tough it was for Colton to get out of his box there with a car in front of him. Had to have the wheel all the way locked to get around.
But Colton Herta should come out with clean air. No, here comes Nolan Siegel now through turn one. Colton will really try to defend here if he can, because that will give him clean air to go fast on those sticker soft tires. Really important right here. I don't know if Colton can hold him off.
But what a great job from Andretti, from the crew, and from the strategy to even get him out ahead of Nolan Siegel, who's been sitting ahead of him for the whole of this race so far. But Nolan Siegel's tires up to temperature in the blue and orange McLaren. Again, the run down to 3 has the look, but Herta has it pinned.
That was so important for Colton Herta to not fall behind Nolan Siegel. There's now nobody in front of Colton Herta except Christian Lundgaard, and Colton is on the right tire to go fast in clean air. Huge moment right there.
Jack, what's going on?
Kiffin Simpson has just done his stop. Not the fastest one, but a real fun story here. Ryan Fager, who got hurt in an incident at Barber, is back on the inside wheel. We love to see him, and we've wished him a really speedy recovery. Great to see him back out here.
Now here comes Kiffin Simpson, and there to the left-hand side of the screen are your race leaders. So Kiffin will emerge back in third place with a very first Colton Herta coming after him.
And that's going to be the battle. Colton was able to get around Nolan in that exchange, but what can he do about Kiffin Simpson?
But look at the aggression. Look at the body language from that orange and black McLaren. He's sensing his opportunity is now. He's on those fresh blacks. Palou on the scrubbed blacks as Rasmussen off track. And that looks like something technical, but starting to put Alex Palou under a huge amount of pressure is Christian Lundgaard. Scott Dixon is now the race leader. And if our sources are correct, Scott is going to try and do this race on 2 stops.
He's on pace to do it. Lap 30 is where you need to hit. He has a lot of yellow to help him. He comes to the box, putting those soft, brand new red tires on.
It was 4 laps of caution at the start of this race. If you need 4 laps of caution per stint to get to lap 30, that's gonna be you're really hoping for a very lucky break here for the number 9. But man, Dixon's done it before, time and time again.
Don't forget he had 2 or 3 pace laps, I should say, as well. True. On that tank of fuel. So Dixon just narrowly in that window as Lundgaard continues to claw at the back of Palou.
And he's chipping away, just a couple of hundredths or a tenth of a second every lap. Brought it down to 6/10 now. Smoke coming from the back of Rasmussen's car. I wonder if we'll see a caution coming out.
Who would that help? Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon. But Palou is coming under some serious pressure. We know how cool he is, how calm and considered behind the wheel. As we do now get the caution. Palou then leads from Lundgaard. Kiffin Simpson is third. We are under caution. Can Lundgaard maintain that pressure as we roll back to green? It's Palou from Lundgaard, then Simpson, Herta, Siegel, Scott Dixon, your top 6 at Mid-Ohio. And look already at Nolan Siegel trying to go around Colton Herta, making life difficult for him, but Herta, that car placement once again, just perfect to deny the young McLaren driver on the run down now to turn 3. Siegel with an excellent exit on that run down through the kink at 3. and into turn 4 at the bottom of the hill. We ride on board with Nolan Siegel, who thinks better of having a pop at Colton Herta just now.
And it's impressive that Nolan even took a stab at it, because Herta's the only guy in the top 5 with those soft tires on. You would have expected him to be right on the gearbox of Kiffin Simpson. He's there now as the Premas are racing each other.
Yeah, that's Robert Schwartzman having a little go at Devlin DiFrancesco, but that has allowed his teammate, Callum Ilott, to get right tucked up underneath Schwartzman's rear wing. Advantage turns to disadvantage so quickly around this circuit. You find yourself going for a move, being denied, losing the momentum, and then coming into the grasps of the driver behind you. We ride on board with Scott Dixon now, courtesy of PNC Bank. And I just wonder if he can make this work. He got exactly the caution laps he needed at exactly the right time on the soft tyres, Scott Dixon. And that's Nolan Siegel ahead of us as Rinus VeeKay now getting passed by Devlin DiFrancesco as Ericsson and McLaughlin bang wheels, and Ericsson runs wide.
That's going to let Stingray Robb get through past the 28 of Ericsson as well. He's going to try to go back on the offensive, get that spot back at least.
And there is DiFrancesco putting that move on Rinus VeeKay. And that's Louis Foster and Jacob Abel. Foster up the inside, up the hill into 5, pulls that move off nicely. Downhill trying to follow Pato O'Ward.
And those two were bitter rivals in the Indy Next Championship last year, finishing 1st and 2nd, both graduating up into IndyCar, and it's just picking up where they left off.
Now Scott McLaughlin having a look at Marcus Ericsson's teammate, Carl Kirkwood. Kirkwood needs a good result today to continue that excellent vein of form that's seen him rise to 2nd in the championship. It's not looking like it's his day as things stand at the moment, but McLaughlin on the offensive, and now Herta on those soft tyres, pressing on and trying to get the move on Kiffin Simpson for what would be a top 3. Scott Dixon doing an utterly phenomenal job. He leads this race. His teammate Kiffin Simpson behind, also going for the 2-stop strategy. Alex Palou didn't believe that it was possible. His team didn't believe that it was possible to do the 2 stops. I'm hearing he has been told. The team now believe, yes, actually, 2 stops is possible for Scott, and it's possible for Kiffin, and now in comes Scott Dixon.
And I think Kiffin Simpson is following. Great job from Kiffin Simpson. Jack.
Well, honestly, both of these pit stops happening almost in the same time. Let's go to Kiffin Simpson quick. He's going to put on a new set of reds. But if there was ever a guy who can make fuel, and he's won here 5 times, it's Scott Dixon. Oh no, it's Kiffin stalled.
Kiffin Simpson stalls on pit lane. And a brilliant weekend, and he gets so close to VeeKay's team. That was unreal. We're talking millimeters.
I mean, I think he hit his toes, man. That was.
I think he gave him a pedicure. I mean, it was a graze at best, but oh my goodness, I was cringing at the right rear tire changer for VeeKay. Watch the toes here. Woo!
He did just get his toes.
But how do you avoid it?
Didn't even flinch.
No room for Kiffin Simpson to get out of there. Meanwhile, Scott Dixon is struggling to accelerate on that uphill section of pit lane as he was leaving his box, so we'll have to watch the gap with Alex Palou on the racetrack.
Nicholas Don, MVP on the 15 crew. That's the outside rear tire changer. Didn't even flinch as his toes were getting run over by 1,800 pounds of IndyCar.
Just wait until the adrenaline wears off, and it has now worn off.
Much more than a graze there. Boy, what a soldier to stay after the job as Pato O'Ward comes in for his final stop.
Fresh set of softs for the number 5. Good wing adjustment. Oh, they got to go back up. A problem on the left rear. Not a quick stop for the 5 crew. Rare mistake out of that group.
Does he get out ahead of Kiffin Simpson?
I think Simpson's coming through turn 1 right now.
Ferrucci in for hards, and there is Simpson. The move on Pato O'Ward. Tyres up to temperature. Stingray Robb having a look as well, but O'Ward will hold that position. As around the outside, Callum Ilott takes a little look. Now to the right. No way through just yet. Stingray Robb defending from Callum Ilott, but Ilott will have the inside line on the run into 4. and that's a position gain for the Prema driver.
Okay, so last set of stops almost complete here, but Alex Palou, we think, is still going to have to pit again. We'll be watching this gap right here, 21 seconds and growing. That's what Palou needs to do. He needs to put time on his teammate, Scott Dixon.
And the important thing for Palou is right now he has a full back straight of clear track in front of him. Nothing is holding him back as he tries to increase the gap to this guy right here, PNC Bank on board, Scott Dixon. He's in a little bit more of a mess because he's got 2 cars right behind him pushing him while he's trying to save fuel.
Both Palou and Dixon on the same tire, the harder black tire. Newgarden and Herta will also have to pit, but it's teammate versus teammate with Chip Ganassi Racing.
What are they saying down in the 10th stand?
Well, here's what I think. I think they want to get another second or so on Dixon because they don't want to have to pass their teammate on track. They want to come out and beat Dixon on the blend coming out. There's no talk of pitting. I think they're maybe within a couple of laps, but I think he'll have the gap he needs by then.
Kevin, he just lost about 2 seconds on this lap. He was not able to get by Stingray Robb. So those precious seconds were just given up here, and he's still stuck behind Stingray for another lap. This is a disaster for Palou right now, not what he needs.
Every lap he has to spend out on track is another lap in that danger zone. If that caution comes out, it's day over for Alex Palou, but he makes the move, puts it on Stingray Robb coming down up there into turn 2. Nicely done.
And the other thing is that Palou just had to burn about 12 seconds of push to pass to make this pass on Stingray. Palou would have loved to save push to pass for a battle with Dixon. That gap still 25 seconds.
Alex Palou then still with it all to do, still having to put in those qualifying style laps in an effort to extend his lead and emerge with the lead still intact over Scott Dixon.
And look, as a driver, it's the most fun position to be in as we take a look at Kiffin Simpson getting that drive-through penalty for hitting the crew. That's a fair move right there. But this is the position you want to be in, T-Bell. You've got all the fuel you need, clear racetrack in front of you, the team saying quality laps to build that gap. Conversely, Dixon having to be so disciplined, so patient with how he's driving that race car. Nowhere near as much fun, but it could work.
Yeah, fun for the driver, but huge pressure on the pit crew right now as the number 10 team crew contemplates the last pit stop, which has to go bang on perfect to beat Scott Dixon. And last year, it was a bobble for this team on pit lane that gave the win to Pato O'Ward.
The pit stop last year was good, but O'Ward was Palou, was so slow to get away, so slow, just sat there achingly. And as he came out, Pato had already made his way past.
You look at crew chief Ricky Davis. I mean, you talk about pros on the pit wall. Davis and team have been getting it done for years now for Alex Palou. They should be confident, but they should also remember what happened last year. It'll be fascinating to see how efficient they can be under pressure.
Palou relentless at the moment in the 1:07.5s.
So there's that comparison, and you see lap 68 when he had to get around Stingray Robb, 1:08.2, 0.2 of a second slower than what Dixon managed. So Dixon right now keeping it just on that bubble. He needs another 2-3 seconds to be comfortable, and I use that term lightly.
But let's not forget, there's 24 other cars racing right now. They can have contact. They can cause a full course caution, and it would be over for Palou. I don't know why he's risking it. I would come in right now.
Dixon starts the 71st lap. He's now down at 26 seconds in arrears from the race leader, and his teammate Alex Palou. Is 26 enough? Would 27 be enough? At what point is it enough for Alex Palou?
Yes, somewhere in that range.
There.
It's hard to know exactly because, as Townsend says, the pit stop has to go perfectly. But, you know, up top in the number 9, you're riding on board with a guy that's won this race 6 times. He knows how to get it done here at Mid-Ohio.
Now, Palou has been on push to pass this lap. This tells me this could be the lap that he comes in. He has 76 seconds remaining. Dixon, 62, so they're pretty close here.
Kevin.
So let's talk to somebody that's dealt with this pressure before. Ricky Davis is the crew chief for the 10 team, and he's gone over the wall for 20, 25 years. Not over the wall, but what's this pressure like? You could win the race with this pit stop.
This is the pressure you want. I mean, you work on this every day that we do pit stop, right? And these guys they're ready. They're just stay poised, right? You know it's going to be a quick stop, so you just stay as comfortable as you can and do what you know to do.
How much does this pit location help you with the easy outs?
Oh, it's a mega. It's so mega. It's the greatest pits we could have, really.
How long do they come out? We're starting to see some movement in the pit box here.
Lundgaard jumps into the pits.
And that's the call for Alex Palou to come to the box. What an opportunity to talk to Ricky Davis before the last play of the game as Alexander Rossi muscling his way past Christian Lundgaard there.
What I loved about that is he said, this is what we want. This is what we look for. I love that mentality out of Ricky Davis in the 10th crew.
Pressure is a privilege. That's the attitude.
This is what they prepare for. We keep our eyes peeled for the race leader, and he comes into the box now. Kevin Lee will be waiting for him.
Terrence Swanson is waving his arm. He is directing him in. He's the outside front changer. He would make any wing adjustment that is needed. He also would direct traffic, more critical in a yellow flag stop with a lot of traffic. It is primary, hard compound to hard compound. No bobbles on the front or the rear. He's away. Now where's he going to come out in relation to Scott Dixon?
That's a perfect stop for Alex Palou. Dixon through the final corner and down the start-finish stretch into one. He will have a pace advantage. His tyres will be up to temperature. Palou, though, will have the track advantage. Palou then out ahead of his teammate Scott Dixon, but can Dixon make the warmer tyres work?
It's about 2 seconds the gap. Palou on cold tires, so the gap will be closer to a second by the end of this lap. But boy, Palou's gotta like the view from where he's sitting right now. Nobody in front of him, his teammate behind him, and he just has to hit his marks here.
Pit stop executed perfectly. This was always the play, this was always the plan, and Palou has executed it exactly as the team had hoped.
Yeah, I think Christian Lundgaard's gonna have an opportunity to compete for second place with Scott Dixon. Lundgaard has been about that half second quicker the last few laps. Last lap, Lundgaard a 107.0 to Dixon's 107.7. So that's the kind of pace he needs.
Problem for Palou. He's gone slowly, and Scott Dixon has gone past him.
Does he have a mechanical problem? Did he drop a wheel? He seems to be back up to pace, Townsend.
I don't know if he's been off the track. I don't know if he's had a mechanical problem. But something has gone wrong for Alex Palou. He has lost the lead of this race to his teammate Scott Dixon, who is the new race leader.
He bobbled once before, and we'll have to see if he put it off the racetrack again. Tricky section right here, and he gets a little loose and he gets wide. A mistake from Palou again, and this time it will cost him.
An unforced error while leading a race comfortably from the three-time champ. I don't think we've ever seen it.
Not one, James, but two that we've seen from him today. Alex Palou pushing to the max, making the mistake, losing the lead. That is so uncharacteristic.
Guys, the pass has happened, but the race is not over. You've got 5 laps to go. We know Dixon's making a big number, and we already said that Palou is probably taking care of his tires in case he needed them later. Guys, he needs them now.
All of a sudden, something that seemed to be a foregone conclusion, Palou with another win, is anything but. This will be a shootout over 4 more laps between teammates and a hard-charging and closing Christian Lundgaard. Dixon is thinking, you got to be kidding me. You handed me the lead. You're going to have to steal it from my hands now.
It has been a calendar year since Scott Dixon has won a race in the NTT INDYCAR Series. The 6-time champion is one of the toughest drivers to beat. He is not going to hand this thing to Alex Palou on a silver platter. He is going to have to come and take it away from his teammate. Dixon exits down the back stretch. Palou will be furious with himself, kicking himself for the 2 mistakes that he's made in today's race, but particularly for that last one that took him not just off the track, but denied him the lead and handed it back to his teammate.
And this is something that we've seen from the very best drivers in the history of racing worldwide. Ayrton Senna leading at Monaco. I think of Paul Tracy with a 2-lap lead and crashing when they told him to just kind of slow down and take it easy. Alex Palou, the best IndyCar driver maybe we've ever seen, making a simple mistake at a critical time, and now he's going up against the 6-time champ and his teammate to try to redeem the error.
Look at the body language of that 10 car though. He looks aggressive and fighty.
They're almost dead even on push to pass. 27 for Dixon, 29 for Palou as he's using it now. He's trying to get a good run out of the keyhole here. This could be it. Goes wide, Townsend loses some ground.
Nobody is better at managing and moving dirty air around for a chasing competitor than Scott Dixon. He is a poker player of the highest order in terms of understanding exactly where to place his race car to make life difficult for Palou and make him use up whatever tire he has left.
Scott Dixon making his car wide. He is wily, he is experienced, and he's looking for a win for the first time this year. Sit on board looking back at Alex Palou. We've said throughout this season the one thing that no driver in this championship wants is to look in their rear view mirrors and to see Alex Palou. Normally it's in that yellow and red DHL Honda, but I kind of think that in that sleek open AI he looks like a stealth fighter. Flying around this track, trying to catch Scott Dixon.
I don't know that Christian Lundgaard will be close enough to pounce, but if there's any issue between these two, he'll be right there.
Oh.
Look at Palou running the low line through the keyhole.
Tight line through 2 on the run down through 3 and into 4. Does he have the pace? Dixon on the push to pass in order to try to extend and get the gap so Palou won't have a chance into the braking zone.
Dixon went wide so that he could square off the exit and get that awesome launch off of turn 2. Guys, that was a brilliant move from Scott Dixon.
And he tricked Palou into thinking there was clean air low, and then he closed it down. He shut it down at the exit, and that might be the moment.
Dixon using all of his experience, all of his knowledge and his acumen to keep the championship leader and the driver of the moment at bay. These two know each other so well as Palou now is soaring away at the wheel as he gets into the dirty air. White flag, 1 lap to go at Mid-Ohio. Alex Palou is going to put it all on the line to take the win away and deny his teammate Scott Dixon. Look how close he is. Look how tight they're getting on the run down to 2.
And here they come to the keyhole. What does Dixon do this time? He goes low and Palou goes high.
Running down the hill one more time. Dixon on the button. Palou on the button. Probably one really good opportunity for a pass remains, and it's on the run down into this corner. There is no way through for Alex Palou unless Dixon now makes a mistake. But he is too wily. He is too experienced. Right from the start of this race, Dixon said, we're going to two-stop it. We're going to throw the Hail Mary. We're going to make the impossible possible. We're going to make the strategy work. Alex Palou has made an uncharacteristic mistake and has handed the victory to Scott Dixon, but Dixon had to make this work. It's a 21st straight season with a victory for Scott Dixon. What a brilliant win. But Scott Dixon returns to the top of the podium.
You have a lot of experience this. Only AJ Foyt has won more races. This is number 59, but how many have maybe seemed this improbable?
It was definitely a tough race, you know, full credit to everybody at Chip Ganassi Racing. 1-2 win, I'm not sure where Kiffin was, but I'm sure he was right there as well. We had fantastic cars. It was my fault in qualifying.
What about that?
Thank you. Excellent. That was cool. But just so much fun, you know, to try and pull off what we did and, you know, deal with what we had was fantastic. They forgot to take the front wing out on the last stop, man, so I just had to look at the corner and the car was going to turn. I was just hoping the rear tires were going to hold on, but awesome to have all the family here today, which is fantastic. They drove up this morning, so good to see Emma, and obviously I think that's Kit's first win, so that's at the track is pretty cool. So thank you again to everybody in PNC. Honda, obviously fantastic fuel mileage there, man. It was such a joy to drive.
And your mom is also here. That's pretty cool.
She's been here for a couple of weeks, so finally it paid off for her.
Yeah, she said that you owed her a win. So after you get by Palou, was there any more fuel save, or were you where you could full go? I think a lot of people thought he might still have a chance at you.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be tough just because it's hard in the wake. You know, we still had to save fuel all the way to the end, so it was definitely very tight. But yeah, you know, I didn't see what happened. I saw that he went off in turn 9. So we got a little bit lucky with that, but kudos to everybody. on the 10, the 9, and the 8. So it was a tremendous weekend for us all, man.
Up next, it's the Sync 275, Saturday, July 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox.